We be live. Hello, everybody. Hi, I'm here with Rivka. Hi, Rivka.
Hi, everybody. I'm back.
Oh, that was so cute. I like her. Oh, that was nice. People in the live chat. Hi, everybody saying hello. Look at our live chat. It's already busy. I like it. I like it. Okay, guys, this is actually more important. I know a lot of you think this might be just funny, but this is actually the beginning of a huge trend, I think, right? I don't know if you guys noticed, but we are going through right now the fourth industrial revolution with the rise of AI, augmented reality, and a whole bunch of other technologies together rising at the same time. The world is about to change. Everything is about to change. It seems like it, at least, that politics is going to change, the religion is going to change, the way we look at work is going to change, the way we might even define humans is about to change. Everything, family, identity, everything, our beliefs, everything is going to change, and it's happening faster than a lot of people realize. And while that is happening, I mean, I am keeping an eye on that on my free time, separate from what we do here on Atheist Republic. But while I keep following that news, think to myself that there is going to be a major religious reaction at some point, and I was waiting for this small hints to that reaction coming in from an Islamic perspective, and this I'm now, as I predicted, I'm seeing it trickle in, and I think this reaction is going to be much bigger, and this is just the beginning. Just like when the radio came, we had a religious reaction. When TV came, we had a religious reaction. When the internet came, we had religion reaction. And now, when it comes to augmented reality, virtual reality, and artificial intelligence, we are going to see also a religious reaction. And again, it's going to be a mix of denial, fear, competition, and then eventually acceptance. And then after acceptance is going to be usage, right? So first there's going to be a major resistance to it, and then at some point they're just going to accept it, and then eventually they're going to use it. But this is just like previous technology, starting from the printing press was a threat to religion. This will also be a threat to religion, even if it's not anti-religious. The fact that it's of this world will and occupies our mind and occupies our attention, that by itself, this world, the better this world gets, the more attractive this world gets, the less the next world is going to matter. And this is why inherently this is going to be a danger to religion, right? This is the dunya. This is a competition between the dunya and the akhirah, and the dunya is getting more and more attractive. So religious is selling you the akhirah, right? So dunya means this world, akhirah means the afterlife. These people are in the business of selling you the afterlife. So as we make this world more heavenly, the idea of selling a heaven is going to become more and more a failing business. What do you think, Rivka? Do you think like that
Yeah,
this is the trend?
sorry, the dog
Yeah.
was
Go on.
yeah,
No, it's okay. Don't
I
don't
agree.
Okay, Rivka, you are not allowed to apologize for your dog. Okay, we love seeing him. Okay, but go on.
This is
Yeah,
Sylvia, everybody.
yeah.
But
Oh,
anyways,
hey.
yeah, I absolutely agree. I mean, this is part of how religion also keeps people in these closed communities. If they're not exposed through technology or through, like you were saying, the printing press, they didn't want people to be able to have the access to books because only the
Mm,
church had that, or be able to read. Same thing. It's how people keep closed communities closed, but also it's a way to focus on something that they're engaged, that they see and they're engaged with in the outside world, and act like these leaders are um get with the times and they know what's going on and they're paying attention, and here's these dangers that are out there, you know.
Yes. By the way, people are loving your dog in the live chat. People are commenting. Well, let's see what Smile to Jannah has to say. Should we watch the ad? Yeah, let's see, because I like to see at the beginning what ad they choose for this specific video.
If you guys want to donate to the Palestinian cause, I am raising money with One Ummah. They have a 100% donation policy. Link will be in the description.
Again, I don't trust these people's donations. I'm very skeptical. I'm thinking they're probably funding Hamas with these money. I don't know. But I hope we find ways to support the Palestinian people. But these people's donations is probably going towards Hamas. I mean, I don't know, but probably.
Assalamu alaikum, guys, and welcome to another episode of...
Because
Wait, what?
I'm saying it's hard to tell where anything's going, because we're finding, you know, supposedly Al Jazeera reporters are working for Hamas, Anwar people are working for Hamas, so it's really an amorphous world.
Yeah, we just found a tunnel under their main offices that like was directly like they were using like Anwar's servers, I think, for intelligence operations, specifically using the electricity that is also being donated from Israel. Was Hamas was going through Anwar, and Hamas is using it for intelligence operations. And people were wondering, why did they cut the electricity at the beginning of the war? So now you know why. Now you understand why. Yeah.
Yeah, and Anwar is like, we had no idea. I mean, just think about if your neighbor is doing renovation on their house. You can hear it. If it's underneath your office, you're going to know that they built it.
We had these major tunnels under our office using our electricity and all these servers, and we had no idea. We were wondering why our electricity... Oh, yeah, sure. Okay, sure. I mean, even if they're right, it's hard to believe that. It's hard. Like, you have to accept why we're being skeptical. Yeah.
About this virtual reality.
Okay, so let's go at the beginning here. Let's see what he has to say. Yeah.
The Vision Pro by Apple. Some people are worried about this virtual reality headset. Well, you should be, frankly. Because if you look at the way people are acting, and this is just the first generation that have been released by Apple, and there is still a barrier to entry price, which is set at $3,500, and they only have around...
I mean, I don't understand why he's complaining about the price. This is just the beginning. Obviously, it's going to drop. Like, we had the same thing with the smartphones. Like, oh my God, look at this barrier to entry. Like, yeah, that will drop dramatically very, very fast, very, very soon, just like every other piece of technology out there that first initially came.
The thing about the price is, I think, almost sort of like a dog whistle to some progressive or leftist thinking, like, oh, it's only for rich people, they're keeping the technology for us, and we're, you know, like, honestly, I think that that's some of what's going on. And sometimes those are valid arguments when it comes to things like medicine, but the Vision Pro, I don't know.
Yeah, also medicine, that's a very US centric thing, that the prices stay higher than they need to be, because medicine prices also drop dramatically. It's mostly true, like United States, you know, structure of how they pay for medicine and stuff that keeps the prices higher. But like with technology, prices of medicine drops dramatically as well. But anyways, yeah.
600 apps.
Oh yeah, D was also saying it's the... Yeah, the good point, D. I'm not gonna don't say that. Oh wait, let me see if we're monetized.
Don't tell anybody about our secret plan with the Vision Pro.
Okay, wait a minute. What did we say? We got demonetized already. I didn't, like, we're talking about... Oh my God. We're talking about... Oh, maybe we said Hamas. Maybe it was the Hamas thing. All right. Well, guys, we have been demonetized. So please make sure you like the stream, because when we get demonetized, we also get deprioritized, and less people... Oh, not the right picture. And less people will end up seeing our stream, and your likes will really help us out to undo all that algorithm, right? So yeah, and it's gone. People are saying in the live chat, and it's gone. So I don't know what we said. I think it was a Hamas thing. We said mentioning Hamas will get us demonetized, probably.
Or maybe because he's talking about branded things
gone.
and we don't have, and I
No,
don't know.
no, that's
don't
not
know.
it. No, that yeah, but let's see.
as well. And look at the way these people are acting. Indeed, it is something from one of these dystopian future projections. Call it a Black Mirror episode or call it Ready Player One. Virtual reality headsets, they are not anything new. Yeah?
What is that background music? Like there's a very happy, like I don't know, beach music on the background. I don't understand.
Virtual reality headsets, they are not anything new. Yeah? These have been around for quite some time, frankly. Facebook has been doing a lot of work on them. They even have these controllers you have with your hands. However, Apple are known to come last. They wait for everybody else to do the trials and the errors. They come in with a beautiful packaging and correcting the mistakes that are there, and they come and they take the market by storm. Typically, whenever they've come, that thing has become the prevailing technology, and then people become under the impression that Apple were the ones that introduced it, which is mostly incorrect, frankly. So with this Vision Pro, the problem was you couldn't interact with the people because there were a lot of complaints that you would become antisocial. It would be very heavy, it would become very hot, and frankly the apps weren't that great, the resolution was not that great. And with regards to the Apple, you guys know they have like a cult following. So depends on the reviews that you've seen. Some might be good, but generally speaking, things are...
Yeah, I mean, this idea of these technology will make you antisocial. I don't. I think it's more to do with the people themselves than the technology. Like, if you, I don't understand why people keep blaming the technology. When Facebook came, people also were saying when social media was like growing, people were saying that about social media. I think if you have the right mindset, technology could also make you more social. I mean, I have, because of social media, which was blamed, like constantly was being blamed for people not spending time with each other and being antisocial. I met more people that I ever imagined. I used to be antisocial. Social media made me more social. Social media made me meet more people online, but also made me get out more. The first time I remember ages ago when I first made my Facebook account, it was because there was this kayaking event that the event was on Facebook, and the only way for me to go there was to actually have a Facebook account. And I made a Facebook account so that I could go to this kayaking event to participate in real life with other people. And I'm also thinking about this, Apple Vision Pro. Right now, for example, if I want to spend time with my family watching a movie, there's like, it's in the living room. Sometimes there's other people are there, and it's like we don't watch a movie because there's like people talking there in the background. It's inconvenient. We don't have a TV in the bedroom, for example, with my wife. If I want to watch a separate with other people, like I want to watch sometimes movies with my wife, and I can't because like there are people in the living room, and that's the only place where we have a nice TV there, right? But if we both had like something Apple Vision Pro, like now we don't need a screen in our bedroom because we don't need a screen anywhere. Like we could just have a shared experience sitting next to each other and watching a movie, and that will make it more enjoyable. Like I don't know, like we could play games more with each other because now we could both put it on and spend time. Like there are not that there without. I can imagine so many ways that I could enrich our time with each other just with that. Because when you're home with your like family, there are some excuses to what do we do with each other, and a lot of those things get boring really fast, and then you want to do other things because they're more interesting. They might be more interesting, but there's a lot of shared experiences. This is actually an excuse for a lot of shared experiences with your kids, with your with your wife, with your husband, even with your grandparents, that you could all put it on and have like more interesting game nights. Like one problem right now is that board games is hard to compete with a lot of video games out there. So a lot of kids are not playing board games with their family because the video games are a lot more engaging. But the problem with those video games is that a lot of older people are not going to be able to engage because the barrier to learning that is so high. But with these things, with new technology, there are going to be games that there has no learning curve, and the kids and the grandparents, for example, could enjoy it at the same time, and it's going to be more ways, because again, that's the problem with current video games. The learning curve is hard for a lot of old older generation. But with these seamless with this technology that makes the technology invisible, like there's nothing to learn, everything is just so apparent and easy to use, that barrier, that learning curve is going to disappear, and it's going to bring younger generation and older generation closer together, because now they could participate in it together at the same time. So again, the technology, I think, could take us apart, but it could bring us together. It's about your mindset. It's about how you use it. Go on, Rivka.
So I think your points are valid. I mean, Facebook has really been a boon to my life. I've met so many people. And then I meet them in real life. It exposed me to all kinds of things. But I do think that there is some truth to this idea of how it can be detrimental. I mean, even if you look as far back as the Industrial Revolution, Emil Durkheim came up with this word for the phenomenon of industrialization, which caused disruptive cycles in people's behavior, anomie, right? And he talked about it being, due to self-regulation also. You have these new ideas, and some of us maybe don't know how to self-regulate. So I think there's definitely great things about it and how it can help people. Disabled people, for sure, have really benefited from a lot of technology, and especially the ability to communicate with people through technology, or be able to have experiences that they might not be able to have because of the limitations of their disability. But I don't think it's something that you shouldn't have some concern about, specifically as a parent. Your kids, we know this, kids aren't going outside as much, kids aren't getting as much physical exercise, kids aren't engaging in a lot of ways that they used to. So I think it's a fair argument, but I don't think it's not monolithic, right? It's one of those things where there's the double-edged sword kind of thing.
Right. But I completely agree with the concern. I just don't think we should resist the technology, because the technology is going to come like a tsunami and it's going to take over. So, and I know you're not saying that as well. I just think that the solution to some of these problems with the technology is the technology itself. So instead of like trying to resist the technology because it's causing some concerns, especially for children, instead you have to look into the technology itself to provide you with solution. How can we use it effectively? How could we, instead of not using it, how can we use it in a way that is less problematic? Yeah.
And actually, that's a really valid point, because if you just spurn it all, at some point a lot of people are forced to deal with it, and then they have no idea how to regulate it. It just becomes overwhelming. So you do need to have these sort of ethical and logistical conversations.
Right. So instead, like if I like had a child, if I see like she is like putting on her headset, like I'm pretty sure in the future we're not going to see like kids looking at their phone, because I don't think there will be phones in the near future. I think it will be just wearables. It will be mostly two kinds of wearables in the future. Phones are going to go away because they're just too hard to just carry in your hand, and your hands are not free because you're carrying it all the time. So I think phones are going to be a thing of the past, and it's just going to be mostly two wearables, one on your eyes and the other one on your wrist. That's going to be our technology, and that's how the user interface is going to be in front of your eyes. So I think the future complaints of parents is like, oh, your head is on your phone. It's just going to be like, they're just always on their headset. And I think as a parent, instead of telling your kids to take off their headset and experience the world and blah, 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 I think you should maybe try to see how you could engage in some activities with them, with your own headset there. Like, because with phones, and a lot of parents resisted doing shared activities with their kids because they just couldn't understand what they're doing. And I think that's the problem. If you want to you need to find shared experiences. This is what we need to do. There's no other way. There's no way to resist this technology. With this technology, you have to find what are different ways that you could have shared experiences with the technology that you have with your kids and other people, other members of your family, with your friends and everything else. It's basically like, I'm not gonna it's basically the same as trying to tell your teenage kids to not have sex. That if you try to do that, you're going to just make them not communicate with you, and now you're not going to know what they're doing. Instead of, it's going to be the same with technology. So any parents that is seeing this and is worried, if you are going to try to stand in front of this tsunami that is coming at us, then you, instead of having an effect on your children, what's going to happen is this is just going to divide you even more. So this is going to be a self-fulfilling prophecy. If you are afraid of this technology alienating you from other members of your family, especially your children, trying to stand against it is actually going to make the process of alienation, process of separation, that's going to make it faster, because you're not going, like, we have seen how this works. Like, if a new technology comes, it's going to take over. There is no force that could resist this. But also, I had this picture ready to show that this is not a new thing, right? When technology, like when newspaper came a thing, people were, the idea, the picture of the father at the breakfast table, everybody's eating and talking, and the father is just having the newspaper open and has his head just in the newspaper and is not talking to anybody on the table, and it's just like reading the paper. That's something that we're all familiar with. So that has, even without the phone, that this piece of technology, the newspaper, these people, the people who are finding other things more interesting than socializing with other people, that prioritization is the issue. It's not the technology, because even with the most limited technology, people who don't want to talk to other people face to face won't talk to other people face to face, right? And before the Industrial Revolution, people were not even meeting each other that much anyways. Most people were living in farms far away from other people to be able to communicate with each other face to face that often anyways. But then when they were living in cities, even with a technology as basic as the newspaper, you could see people were not being social, had enough excuse not to be social. Go on, Rivka.
So 2 things about the dad in the newspaper. When my father came home and he went to sit down to read his New York Times, we were not allowed to talk to him. You couldn't go near him. I mean, it was like he was wearing a virtual reality headset, but it was the New York Times,
Yeah, exactly.
Leave your father alone. He's reading the paper. But this thing about you were saying about it, a tsunami. Yeah, it happens. And people, can find ways if they don't want to talk to people. But that's sort of what Durkheim is talking about when he's talking about self-regulation and the norms of industrialization and, adaptations to those norms. So all of those things are something that people discussed, because he was specifically talking about people moving out of small rural communities into cities and working at factories, and they're not engaging with people, and they have this loneliness and this. So similarly, but to your point about kids really quick, and then I can move on, is the thing about especially teenagers is that's part of what they like, I think, about this technology, is that their parents don't understand it, that they have something that they can do that their parents don't understand. So your point about engaging with it with your kid is true, but that's also common with every generation, these new kids today kind of thing. So I don't think that you should be afraid of it. I think you should be, knowledgeable. I think you need to, have those difficult conversations with some people find difficult, and it's, to use it like a tool instead of like a drug.
Right. Yeah, exactly. But by the way, another thing that is going to happen is that I think virtual and augmented reality are going to be so much like the real world that office work is going to be go the way of the dodo. Like people are not going to be working in offices anymore, right? At some point, it just wouldn't make the transit wouldn't make sense. Like right now I have computer screens in front of me. I can imagine a world where it doesn't even make sense to have any screens anywhere in your home because your augmented reality is just going to have as many screens as you want anywhere that you want in your house, right? Like I don't know if you guys seen what this Apple Vision Pro can do. Like you can have giant screens anywhere without actually having physical screens. So all this space that is taking in my home with screens on the wall, TV screens, they're all going to go away, and you're going to be able to have more space in your house because all of this is not cluttering anymore. You're not going to go to the office. Imagine the extra amount of time people are going to be able to spend with their family because they're all working from home now, right? Because the extra productivity because of AI is going to make you be able to do a lot more work for a lot less time. You're going to be home. You're going to be able to spend more time with your children, with your wife, with your husband. So that could also be a force that brings us closer together because of the extra leisure time, and also because of not having to commute to work because every office is going to be now right on your eyes. Go on, Rivka.
So that's actually a really interesting point, and a lot of philosophers and thinkers talk about that. For example, Yuval Noah Harari talks about that, and he talks about the fact that it's going to create jobs, but some of the things that it's going to do is get rid of a ton of jobs, because he says the crucial problem is not the creating new jobs, but the creating jobs that humans can actually do better than the algorithm. And
Right. Yeah.
so his part of his discussion is, what are you going to do when you form sort of like what they call a useless class of people? I hate to use that word, but it is in terms of you can't beat the computer at a lot of these things. And so that's some of the discussions I think that might be worth having in terms of how is this going to change employment? How is this going to change people's feelings about what they do, which they seem to think is sometimes who they are? And,
Yeah.
So that's actually a really valid discussion about how it's going to affect work.
Let me show you a video of the Taliban before the first time they ruled over Afghanistan. Let me show you this. Okay, so I actually can tell what he's saying because he's speaking a version of Persian. He said, this is a device that the enemies of our dear country, Afghanistan, have brought into our country. So it's like pointing at the TV for people who are listening. He has a TV. So he's saying that this device, this TV, is a way to bring on the hell to our families, like basically trying to destroy the foundations of a family with the TV. Like they're the enemies of our country, the enemies of our dear country, Afghanistan. They brought this to our country so that they could reach our children, our boys and our girls, so that they destroy them and take them to hellfire. This TV is going to make our kids go to hell. Oh, and they're gonna also suffer in their grave, because they're not Muslim. So it's the duty of every Muslim to get rid of this from their household, to remove the TV from their household. Or even buying, according to Sharia, buying a TV is haram. It's a sin to buy a TV. Putting this in your house is haram. Like he says, even listening to the Quran from the TV, even that is haram. And so everything that is haram is not in accordance to Islam, and for the satisfaction of my Lord, for God, I will now destroy this video. Like I'm not destroying this TV for fame or because of my own ego. I'm doing this for God's. I'm doing this for God.
Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. این را دشمنان اسلام جور کرده و خاطر تباهی مردان مسلمان و زنان مسلمان و مردان مسلمان را نمیگذارد که به سوی مسجد برود. بران ما مسلمان‌های را خراب میکنیم تا اینکه برادران مسلمان ما خواهران ما.
Okay, so now they're using the TV, by the way, Taliban. So this was their attitude towards the TV before, but now they're on, not only they're on TV, Taliban these days are experts at social media, right? So they're really good at social media. They're on Twitter, active all the time. So they're kind of, so again, resistance at first, acceptance, and then usage. This is what's going to happen. Wait, go on, Rivka.
I was just thinking, now granted, Taliban isn't the same organization as Daesh, but when Daesh was very active, a few years ago, you could download the application on the internet to join them. Okay, so technology reaches everybody. Even the people who want to take you back to the 7th century are willing to use technology to get there.
Right. Exactly. Actually, I have something very interesting to, now that I think about it, I have something very interesting to show you at the end of this. Yeah. Okay. So let's go back to this video.
Amazing as was expected. Indeed, it is the first generation, but still it is heavy. It's not as transparent as people thought. The resolution of like the FaceTime or whatnot is not as clear as was advertised. But that
Yeah, but this is the worst that it will ever be. This is only just the beginning. You have no idea what's about to hit
That's
you.
not what we're here to talk about, yeah? Now you know what it is, and now you know how important it is. So let's just say it comes down to the Meta price, and it's 3rd, 4th generation. It's more affordable by the people. More people start having it. What could be the problem? Because we know the advantages. The advantages are going to be education. It's normally education and helping the differently abled or the disabled. That's pretty much it. That's how these products.
Oh, that's pretty much it. That's pretty much it. Education. Oh, this small thing called education. Do you guys have any idea how that alone is just going to rock the world? The fact that we're now going to have AI and augmented reality and virtual reality helping with education. Do you know that this could make this schools and universities and all of it go extinct, because now every child is going to have their own personal tutor that is, AI based, that could basically train every child exactly that is fitted them best. Do you know, if we are able to do that, do you know, if with satellite internet and cheaper technology and AI, imagine cheaper headsets and satellite internet and AI at the same time, that means like a little kid in a village in the Amazon forest is now going to have access to the best personal education fitted for that individual, like access to amount of education that even the richest kids with their own private tutors don't have access to. That is going to be dirt cheap for any kid in any village anywhere in the world. With that level of education, how powerful every individual will become? Do you know how every individual now will be able to transform the world? Do you know how many more Einsteins and Darwins are we going to get out of individuals with that level of education? That by itself, like ignoring everything else that this technology is going to do to healthcare, I don't know, to politics, to food production, to farming, to everything, just education alone, I can't imagine the world we're going to be living in 50 years from now just with that. Like, oh, just that, just education and helping the elderly. Oh yeah, helping just the small thing of helping the elderly, like improving the quality of livable life, not just the number, but actually making life livable for elderly. Do you know also how that's going to transform the world? I can't. Again, this is you should be afraid, because we are now more and more getting close to competing with your fake idea of a heaven, right? You made up a heaven, but we're building a heaven. But go on, Rivka.
So UNESCO has actually put out a position on this for what they're calling Education 2030 agenda, and it's all about AI has the potential to address some of the biggest challenges in education, teaching, learning, also with regard to access, and they also talk about these, debates and discussions and regulatory frameworks that we were talking about, that the technology sometimes moves faster, and so that people need to start having those conversations. But it's interesting that you said that, because you were talking about, somebody in the middle of nowhere. That's exactly kind of what UNESCO's point is about how it can revolutionize the access to it,
Right.
But it also mentions, its concerns about technological divides and the costs and things like that. But this is, for their 2030. So this is 6 years from now. But it's very interesting that you said that, because that's something that they started talking about. And also having those political debates, or those ethical conversations, or those conversations about how to use it and how to use it for, good,
Right.
so to speak.
I do think that schools are not going to be a place of learning anymore for kids, because technology is just going to take over teaching children what they need to learn. I think schools, if they remain, are going to be a place for socializing. Like, the main utility of schools is going to be where kids meet other kids and meet them in face to face. That's going to be like, humans are not going to be able to compete with AI when it comes to teaching kids. But because kids will need social interaction, that's going to be the main purpose of schools. Go on, Rivka.
Well, that's sort of what Yuval Harari is talking about, in terms of like, how can humans compete with the artificial intelligence? They can't in some levels.
Yeah.
But I think, and so what happens to those jobs, that used to be? But I think there's more to a school than just the socialization that it teaches you, and more to human teaching, in terms of how to relate to other people, how to interact in difficult situation, like emotional intelligence, how to, and then also sometimes people.
But that's all socializing.
It's true, but it's socializing in an educational setting where you're forced to,
teamwork,
or get along, or how you deal with all of that stuff. And I think that humans may be able to do some of that better, because no matter how, and I don't know, because I'm in the generation, like, I went to college without ever even using a computer. Okay. So that's, but I think sometimes some things humans might be able to do better, because the tone of the voice, or the feeling that you get, or the way someone looks, or their body language, some of those things are really important to socialization. So a human teacher may be able to give you that, but that's so far in the future. I don't know. I think we're getting off in the weeds here.
Yeah. Oh, let me see. We got a super chat from Bull McDonough saying VR is all about the video games, baby. Yeah. Well, I mean, it's going to be, my guess is that the more we go into the future, it's going to be, work is going to be gamified, and at some point it's going to be hard to tell the difference between a video game and work. That's my prediction, but let's go.
Are sold. And of course there's going to be benefit for these things, even businesses as well. You can be sitting in a room with the people. Why not? But with any generation changing technology like this, There are responsibilities that we need to emphasize to get the masses ready. Radio came first. People were like, yo, this is revolutionary. Yeah? TV came after that. Yo, this is revolutionary +1. Then came the MP3 players, then came the realistic gaming, smart televisions, smart phones, and now virtual reality.
I'm glad you mentioned to all of that to us, because we didn't know that this was the progression of technology. I'm glad you listed that for us. None of us were informed about that.
Headsets. Rather than being a Luddite and saying all technology is bad and you need to stay away. Of course, in an ideal world, nature is the best. However, because of a few advantages, because of necessities.
Go on, Rivka, you want to say something?
This point, and I understand what he's trying to say, that, you know, you need to be engaged with nature, but this point actually bothers me. There's this idea that everything natural, everything nature, it's the best. You know what is natural? Dying of dysentery. You know what's natural? Getting mauled by a tiger. You know, are those always the best? I think that there's this false idea that somehow nature is always the best, you know? And I know a lot of people who have mental illnesses get angry about people like, oh, all you need to do is go out in nature. It's the best medicine. It's the healing. You know, I've heard people say that to other people. It's not always the best. Some things that are natural aren't always good for you, or it's not always this perfect environment. You know, before we came up with some technology, like, for example, you know, antibiotics that you could take a pill, or injections of penicillin. Those are technological innovations. Okay. They may not be a virtual reality headset, but they are new. They are scientific. They were moving society forward. People naturally, through the course of nature, just died from diseases that we can now, you know, interrupt and stop and cure or prevent through vaccination.
Yeah.
So that point just bothers the crap out of him. Nature is always best. Yes, nature is great. Yes, it has really wonderful attributes, but it's not always the perfectness that people imagine it is.
All right, let's play a couple, because I think we're going to run out of time before we finish this video. So I'm going to play a couple of minutes of it before we actually pause again, because I have a lot of points, but I want to make sure that we finish.
Like parents saying,
oh, my child needs the phone in case he's being robbed.
is your child gonna tell the robber,
hang on a minute, I need to call my parents so you can be in trouble, mister?
hello?
Oh, sorry, it's my nan. Nan, she's a bit hard on hearing, yeah? Nan, hello, Nan, pass to mum. No, mum. Just give me a...
You'll get shot in the face, mate. So we know people.
Okay, I just have to quickly say that's nonsense. Obviously, having a phone with you and being able to communicate and call the cops or call your parents is going to provide more security to you. Just because he can't imagine it, that doesn't mean it's not true. That was absolute nonsense. Obviously, your kids having access to a phone is going to make them more safe. You know, in times of need, you need to be able to call emergency. You need to be able to call an ambulance. You need to be able to call the police. What an idiotic take from this guy.
People are going to have this. But what is the danger, yeah? Just like with all of this technology that I mentioned, number one, escapism. Escaping from your problems and the reality. This has become an issue and still remains an issue and will continue to be an issue. Whether we escape to narcotics, intoxicants, alcohol, technology, gaming, social media. Again, it's
okay, the main source of escapism is religion. Okay, the people who can't deal with reality, yes, they use some of these tools to escape reality, but one of the most dangerous ways for people to escape reality because they can't deal with reality is religion. You know, this is exactly, he talks about escapism and he doesn't understand that his Islam is one of those tools for people who can't deal with the realities of the world. I don't know if he understands that. I don't think he does. But we did get a super chat from Asian American saying we can genetically portions of human skin to photosynthesis, we can work with nature to optimize civilization. Well, I don't know about the photosynthesis part, but yes, I agree with the second part. And thank you for the super chat. We have been demonetized, so we do appreciate the support.
Social media, again, it's escaping the mundanities of life. Why? Because
Yeah, and you could use the same technology to escape the life, the reality, the mundanes of life. Actually, some of it is good for us to escape. For example, a lot of repetitive, boring tasks. If AI could take over that's fantastic. But if there's some parts of reality that you shouldn't be escaping, and you are using technology for that, well, that's something that needs to be addressed. But also, technology the same technology might help you be able to notice parts of life and help you actually to get in touch more with reality. Again, it depends on you. It depends on how you use it, right? There are many things that about your environment that you're not noticing, that is you're losing. And AI and augmented reality might actually be able to notice those things that you were always missing and pay more attention to them. Again, it depends on you and how you use the technology. Let's go forward.
escaping the mundanities of life. Why? Because either we lack the patience to do something new and beneficial for us, because it might.
Here's the thing. Imagine I'm just making this up as I'm going. I'm imagining this, right? Like, imagine that you in our times, a father, their child is going by and she's sad, and the father doesn't notice, right? But now you have like wearable, like smaller augmented reality glasses or cameras around your home. And the way that your daughter came home and just went into the room and shut the door, like let's say in the old times, you would make nothing off of it and you say nothing, right? But now you get an alert based on the things that the AI observed. You get an alert in your technology that like, hey, you might want to go check up on your daughter. There seems to be something wrong. You might want to go ask her how she is and if she wants to talk about something. There, the opposite of escapism. That could be our future.
Be risky because it might be difficult, because we're not used to it, because of our cultural and social upbringing. Whatever it is, it's escaping from responsibility into a world that you can click a button and you get it. Number 2, it's detachment. Oh yes, it's detaching from the people that actually care about us. When something happens to you and you're lying in hospital, the Facebook likes and the Instagram hearts aren't going to be of benefit.
So see, the Facebook likes, yeah, but the same Facebook likes and hearts, they might themselves not directly help them, but you know how many people, because of the likes and hearts, brought that video in front of more eyes, ended up getting people together to help somebody? So look at the level of, I don't know, are you being dishonest or are you lying? Yes, the like itself and the heart itself did not heal that child, but the like and the heart made the views of that video go up, and people were like, holy crap, how can we help this person? And they got around and they helped immobilize people to do things. So yeah, maybe sometimes likes and hearts do help. Likes and hearts will get the video more views will encourage more people, will get more people to want to do something. Among the, look at the, like right in this, even in the video that you're showing me 14,000 views. So without this Facebook video, this kid who has a cancer right now, 14,000 people would not have noticed that this kid might need help. And among these 14,000, maybe, I don't know, 500 of them decide to do something about this. And from that 500, maybe 10 of them do, and 10 of them do something that ends up helping this child in a way. I don't know, maybe somebody rich or some celebrity notices this because you like this video. So you see, it's not as simple. It's not as simple as you're making. Technology can help. I mean, how many examples of people you've seen that got together to help somebody because technology made them notice something? Let's continue. Oh, we got another super chat. Gene, thank you so much for the 15 shekels, saying he seems to be unaware he is posting this on YouTube, a platform that already supports VR. Yeah, and also because of it, like even if you have brought your message to a lot of people because of the same technology that now you're dissing. Like you ask people at the end of your stream to like and subscribe. If these likes and subscribes did not have any value, then why are you asking for it at the end of your videos? They must be doing something. By the way, this guy is he is leaning in with Smile to Jannah, is leaning into a much bigger concern. Like people like Daniel Hairaju think that this is the beginning of transhumanism, which I also agree with Daniel. I just think it's a good thing. He thinks it's a bad thing, but they see this as a much bigger, as a piece of a much bigger conspiracy for the, I don't know, the Zionists or the Illuminati or the world powers to eventually take over. This everything that you're seeing right now, it's their idea of the apple in the Garden of Eden, because the apple in the Garden of Eden was the knowledge, or basically the fire from in the story of Prometheus was the technology that was stolen. So the apple in the Garden of Eden was the knowledge that was the promise to humans that you could become like gods. And this whole thing is that apple. I mean, this is why people like Daniel or other people think that it's not a coincidence that the name of the company that is leading this technology is Apple, because this is the same apple as the apple in the Garden of Eden. The promise is like, I will give you this knowledge, or I will give you this technology, and you could be like God. You could live the promise, like you will be like gods. And God was like, this will make you, this is going to kill you. So this is the same battle that started in the Garden of Eden. People like us are telling you that your heaven is fake, your afterlife is fake, but we humans with technology, we could build something that is like heaven. And they're like, oh, we noticed this story from somewhere else. This is the serpent in the Garden of Eden was promising Eve the same thing, that the apple or the knowledge will make you live like gods. And they're saying it's a lie, and they're trying to fight against this. But go on, Rivka.
Also, it's important to that point that we're talking about Abrahamic religions, because God, it's the same God, as much as people don't want to, I mean, we won't even get into his having a son with the Christians, but basically it's the same God. And remember that this God punishes human beings for this, women in particular, but all human beings. This is the punishment for seeking knowledge. And that's sort of what's behind this, right? Is if you're looking for too much knowledge, if you're looking to, maybe eliminate suffering or make disabled people walk again or whatever, those are things that God's created in a way, if you believe in him. So how dare you try and look for something that God told you in the beginning is not for you? The keeper of knowledge is him and only him.
Yeah. I also want to mention that it's very humiliating to the Muslim world that they are not at all involved in providing any of this technology. Like, look at the technology and science that is coming out of Muslim countries. It's very insignificant. Everything that we're getting when it comes to science and technology is coming from, the vast majority of it is coming from non-Islamic countries. And this is a major source of humiliation for Islamic countries, because, they're supposed to be, the advanced ones, the bigger ones, the stronger ones. Like, this is how they remember themselves, like in their, and now they're behind everything. So one reason why you see some of resistance, like because it reminds Muslims that their societies doesn't have much to offer. So all of these amazing, because they have what? They have Islam, right? They have religion. And from religion, we don't get anything that we could see that is bettering our lives. There's no noticeable improvement to our lives because of religion. And all of these non-religious things, especially from non-Islamic countries, is having such a major impact on our lives. It makes people wonder, like, what is religion? It is, in the back of even religious people's minds, is making them wonder, what does religion have to offer? Every improvement in my life, every material improvement in my life is coming from science and technology. So there is this, even if we don't mention it, in people's minds, there is this competition between these two way of looking at the world, like the material and the scientific way of looking at the world, that has impacted our lives so much that even without arguing with people, more and more people will notice that religion is not the source of anything that is having a material impact on their lives. But yeah, let's continue.
Benefit. One comedian said he told the people that he was dying and he got 15 likes.
Brutal.
That's the mentality of these social media people. The only people that are going to be standing by your bedside are your family, and then secondly, the ones that are closest to you in terms of some friends. And the thing that is of benefit all of the time, that is Islam. That's your faith, that's your religion. Even if you're in the darkest corners of the planet alone, cut off from everybody, Allah and you always have a connection, and the bars never go down, mate. They never go down. And of course, it's laziness. Yeah, laziness, because you are going to be able to move stuff with your eyes. It's got loads of cameras, it tracks your eye movement.
I mean, it's really hard to verify that the bars never go down when there's a one-sided communication, right? Like, imagine any of these other technologies where you're having an input, like you're typing something on the keyboard, you're like saying something on your device, you're touching your screen, and it's just going in, and there's no output. Like you have, like right now, I have input device. I know the technology around me works because my keyboard is an input, my microphone right now is an input, my camera is an input, and I have output. Okay, this is an output device on my ears, and my screens are output devices on my screens. With the technology that you're trying to introduce your religion, like the God's device here that you have as a technology, right? So you're saying like, my phone or the Apple Vision Pro or my computer, or all of this, you're trying to say, compare that to Allah. Well, where's your output device? Show me the output device. I see your input device is salat and dua, which is, the 5 times prayer or reading the Quran, right? So this is your output device. You're either reading the Quran, you're either doing dua, so you're praying to God, or you're doing the salat, which is the 5 prayers that you do every day to God. So these are your outputs. So okay, that's your output device. I have my keyboard. That's my output device. I have my mouse. That's my output device. My microphone is my output device, and my my input. These are my input devices. Sorry. Salat, dua, and reading the Quran are input devices. My input devices: my keyboard, my mouse, my microphone, and my camera. Okay. So now I receive something. When I give something, I receive something back. Right. So, these were input, and my output is what I receive is my screen, my earphones. Right. So, what do you have when I communicate with God? What do I receive back? Right. That's a piece of technology. Does God speak to me? Because God spoke to your prophets, right? With revelation and with miracles. Those are the only 2 forms of communication that we get back. We say something to God, we get something back in the form of revelation and miracles. The prophets receive something back, but do we get anything back? So your technology is one-sided. There is no way to verify if this technology is working, because when we give something, there's no communication back in return. You claim there is, but we don't see any verifiable evidence that there is anything back that we receive. So this is not even a technology. I don't even know how you could compare that with technology when the most important part is missing. The whole reason why we use our input devices to give something to technology, the whole point is to get something back in return. We're not receiving anything back in return from your technology. Go on, Rivka.
So to your point, he is using technology to get something back. He's trying to reach people via this modern technology that people might be watching on a VR set, on their phone, whatever. And it's just so interesting, as we were talking about this, is that, using the technology to demonize the technology, I find really interesting, and to talk about, he's reaching people. Technology doesn't, what is this going to do for you? It's doing something for you, brah. You're making money off of it. You think you're reaching people. You think you're influencing something. So I just find it funny. Yes, use technology to talk about potential problems with technology, that's fine, but acknowledge it, which he's not.
Yeah, let's continue.
And the bars never go down, mate. They never go down. And of course, it's laziness. Yeah, laziness, because you are going to be able to move stuff with your eyes. It's got loads of cameras, it tracks your eye movements, and you just need to go like this with your fingers. So,
I mean, then get off, don't use a car, walk. Don't use a car ever again. Okay?
It's less and less movement from us.
I mean, you're because of technology, you now go to a grocery store instead of like farming. The vast majority of humans used to be farmers. Now you go to a grocery store and you pick up your vegetables. Okay, so go into a farm. Stop YouTubing, and you're being lazy. Like compared to people before, we're extremely lazy. We used to have to farm in a field for our food. So if you're against this trend of getting lazy, then go backwards, go back in the farm and farm your own food.
And more chances of obesity and lack of movements. And again, it's going to affect our social skills, because look, we got so much social media, but our kids are becoming more and more unsocial. And you're going to have forced mindfulness. Yeah. I got a bit, I want to feel like I'm in the forest, mate. Oop. I'm in the forest. Why don't you get up off your backside, go and travel there? Yeah, but it's far, I don't have time.
Yeah, you will be able to travel more if you wanted to, because now your work, you could do more work with less time. So that's going to eventually give us more leisure time, which will give us more time to be able to go into the freaking forest. Go on, Rivka.
I really want to focus on this thing he says, forced mindfulness. Okay. Well, religion does that. I mean, what is having the azan call you to prayer that you can hear everywhere and that interrupts your interrupts everything you're doing? It could interrupt, you wakes you up from sleep, or you have to stop whatever to go then pray, and you have to face a certain direction, and you have to do it 5 times a day. In Judaism, 3 times a day. It's not quite the same in terms of azan, but they also have this idea that you have to stop and you have to force yourself. You got to think about God 5 times, but in particular to Islam, 5 times a day. God's forcing you to think about him, and you got to do it, and you got to face the direction, and you got to get your rug, and you have to, and if you miss it, maybe you have to stop on the highway to make it up because you couldn't pull over and go to the, I mean, it's forced mindfulness. I mean, that's part of the reason why these religions pray 3 times a day, 5 times a day, is you got to keep God right here all the time. That's the forced mindfulness, and even sometimes the clothing or the attire, I remember my mother told me, why Jewish people men wear yarmulkes and women sometimes cover their head? Because you got to remind yourself all the time, God's above you. So there's all this forced mindfulness in these religions. And he's saying, it forces mindfulness. And just being out in the forest, I'm not sure that's an example of forced mindfulness. You can do that without a VR headset. I wish I was in the forest. I'll close my eyes and imagine a forest.
Rivka, now that you mention it, the adhan or the church bell is the original notification. It's a notification on your phone. That's basically what it was. I mean, it's not a coincidence that the symbol for notification is a bell, right? Like, it's a bell. It's a notification. It was it was literally a notification. Yeah, the church bells and the adhan. You're right. That's such a good point. Amazing. Religion is a technology, to be fair, right? It's just not a very good one.
Why don't you do something to make time? No, but I'm at work. Why don't you work on becoming self-employed and starting your own business? Yeah, but it's too risky. And why don't you
becoming self-employed? Why don't you work on becoming self-employed? Guess why people can do that? You freaking moron. It's the technology that makes people be able to get self-employed. Self-employment was not an option.
My point to him is, get self-employed like you, have a YouTube channel using technology to make money off of people, to tell people not to use technology. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, oh my God.
But it's too risky, and why don't you take some risks? Because I'm just not used to. Well, that's what you need to deal with, mate. This comes under counseling, comes under psychology, comes under self-help. You need to know yourself, and that's the thing that these technologies are exploiting. They want to give you the easy way
They're offering the opportunity to be self-employed. You freaking moron.
out. And if you get used to this, then you're going to look for the easy way out in relationships, be it with your partner, husband or wife, be it with your family.
No, I don't live with my mom anymore. She don't understand me.
Or even with your friends. They don't do something you like, boom, you cut them off.
With this technology that we have on your phone right now, you could use that technology to be more distant from your wife, or you could watch YouTube videos. You used to have to be able to afford, expert opinions on marriage advice. Now there's a lot of YouTube videos talking about marriage advice, talking about relationship advice. It's up to you. You could use the same technology to go look at expert opinions that people used to have to pay so much money for it, and now they're available for free on your phone, and you can now understand what are the best ways to conflict. In a marriage, if you're in a conflict, there are YouTube videos on conflict resolution in a marriage. You could watch those. You can improve your marriage because of that technology.
So
go on,
I was just going to say, all this stuff that he's saying about know yourself and, take risks, none of that is necessarily technology related either. I mean, people have been saying that for years, I mean,
right.
This is just sort of, I think he doesn't know how to segue into his it's all about religion thing. So he's just coming up with some of this stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I guess the point that I'm trying to say is know thyself. That's the first thing. Neo noticed this over the door of the oracle. But even before that is get close to God, because there are becoming more and more barriers to reality. This is like...
There it is. This is the concern. These are not barriers to reality. These are just like the telescope and the microscope. These are not barriers. These technology are not barriers to reality. They're enhancing our ability to see reality. And that's why it's a threat to your God, because your God is not part of reality. And with enhancement, with tools for us to notice reality even better than before, just like the microscope and telescope, right? That was a threat to your God. This technology is also another threat to your God. It's not a barrier. It's a tool. It's an enhancement. It's an enhancement of our vision. Oh, we got another super chat. The Asian American saying Plato was anti-writing. Okay, well, thank you for the super chat. Thank you.
This is actually known as spatial computing, which combines the physical world with the virtual world. And with Unreal Engine, you know what they're using in gaming and what they did and they said in the Matrix demo.
And what would reality mean when a world we can build feels as real as our own?
So this is their aim. And the more veils there are over reality, the harder.
I mean, if the world that we could build is as real as our own, and that would be part of reality. Okay, it's called virtual reality. It's also part of reality. Okay, it exists.
Veils there are over reality, the harder it becomes for us to give da'wah and help the person come out. It's going to become harder to connect with your kids and this generation. So
there it is. That's where you feel threatened.
Important we equip.
Yep, it's going to be harder. It's going to be harder to convince people to work for a heaven that you promised them when we are building a better life here. Again, the better this dunya gets, the better this world gets, it's going to be so much harder for you guys to sell an afterlife, because people will focus on this life more.
Them when they're young, and young in terms of age, but young in terms of technology as well. The technology at the moment is young, even though I would say that Apple coming in is a big thing. And with regards to what certain countries are doing in Muslim majority countries, and the world turns a blind eye or genuinely believes the propaganda, imagine if the propaganda becomes difficult to avoid. It's literally there attached to your face with a TV and a screen. You can switch it off, you can put the laptop down, you can put your phone away. Imagine if something's there. Yes,
you could take it off and from your head, like, oh, you could put your laptop away, you could turn off the TV, you could put away your phone, but once these things on your eyes, then they're stuck, you can't take it off. Like, I don't understand the difference. Yes, you could take off your headset as well. What the hell?
the Neuralink is something that will come in the
Oh, you're talking about the Neuralink. Okay, the Neuralink. I thought talking about the headset. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you will be able to shut those off as well and not use them if you like. I don't think I don't think you would have to use them. You could also remove them if you wanted to.
future, and that is just next level stuff. You know what I mean? If that comes, mate, I might as well, you know what I mean, pack my bags, find my way to get to Mars, because this is ridiculous. At the moment,
I mean, I'm pretty sure they will have those things on Mars as well, if you could get to Mars. I'm pretty sure the people who are flying to Mars are the main people who are also using that sort of technology. Oh, we got a $10 super chat. Thank you so much. Go on, Rivka. Thank you.
So to your point about you could just take it off, you know, I mean, I know personally worked with a woman who was deaf, who first she had hearing aids and then she had one of those cochlear implants. And sometimes she wanted to just not have to hear things, whatever. She could turn it off. It was part,
Oh.
and she did. So my point is, you know, you can, especially her hearing aids, she sometimes would take them out at night, you know, just, and so the point is technology, you don't have to be its slave. You have to be able to use it. It's a tool.
Right.
You know, and that's what he's trying to, you know, say that, you know, this is going to affect people in a way.
You know what you can, Rivka? You know what you can take off?
God.
Islam. If you
Exactly.
if you accept Islam, you're not allowed to take that off. So I'm pretty sure any form of technology you should be able to opt out from it. But if you accept Islam, now if you take Islam off, now you're a murtad and you're supposed to be executed for it. So
there's no unsubscribe to Islam.
Exactly. That's the technology that you can't take off.
still got some breathing space. Yeah. So yeah, companies and governments are going to have more access to you, and they're going to come up with more sophisticated propaganda for control, to control you.
I mean, you are doing what you're saying. Like, you're calling it propaganda. The things that you don't agree, you're calling it propaganda. But okay, based on that standard, we are using YouTube to watch you right now. So how is, like, this is propaganda? You're doing what you're saying other people do. How is your videos not propaganda? You're like, you're promoting anti-Israeli propaganda. That's what you do. Like, you just calling. Oh my God.
Also, the dawah that he talks about is going out there and trying to present things to people, to change their minds, to engage, you know, all the things that you're saying the technology does, you're doing, not just on this video, but in daily life. And he's also talking about no ideas. Well, you know, I don't know, dude, you know, you got some old school no ideas yourself that about religion and about,
and the technologies he's complaining about is actually doing their anti-Israeli propaganda right now more than the other way around. Like, if you're like, what do you like, if you go on TikTok, for every pro-Israel video, there's like 10s and 20 like anti-Israeli video on Facebook, on Instagram, everywhere. Like, the technology is, if you're like, oh, this is propaganda, what you're seeing in this technology, well, right now the technology is saying what you agree with more. So you're just I don't understand. Like, these people are just contradicting themselves.
And to debunk the notion of, it's education, going to help people, mate. Yeah, well, what education? What education do we get now? Oh, Christopher Columbus founded America, but the Native Americans and Indians were already there. What did he find?
You idiots! They are in the United States. The history is the most self-critical in no. There are very little countries. Go to Islamic countries and look at their history lessons, and then compare that with the education in Canada and United States and in Western Europe. Look at how self-critical the history is. In United States, the schools, I mean, they're pretty much teaching you to be anti-American in many schools in the United States. And you're like, oh, this is what they're teaching you? No, they're teaching you the opposite. If you go to Egypt, look at how they're self-congratulatory they are when it comes to their history lessons. If you go to Iran, look at how self-congratulatory they are. If you go to China, look at their history books. You could see how self-congratulatory they are. But if you go to the United States, they're like, oh yeah, we were horrible. We did the worst. This country started with genocide. If you go into Canada, look at their history. Like, oh yeah, we were freaking horrible. If you go to France, look at what they teach their children about what France did in Nigeria. They teach these to their kids. They're self-critical. What are you talking about? Look at yourself. Look at Islamic countries' history books. Go on, Rivka.
But this is another one of those sort of dog whistles or sort of subliminal things to hit this woke agenda, right? The same thing with, oh, the cost, why are you focusing on the cost, right? Well, yeah, that people are like, oh yeah, billionaires bad, poor people, Apple same thing with this, Christopher Columbus and Native Americans and all that. Oh yeah, the United States is so terrible and we're so bad. That I swear that's specific to his demographic. He needs to hit certain points for people to really engage and go, yeah, oh yeah, he's down with what we think.
Yeah, I mean, the same books that tell in the United States that tell you how bad it was to the Native Americans, in their history books, you could see that in the United States, they will teach you that. But the same books don't tell you that these Islamic countries also, like the vast majority of Islamic countries, started because of it was conquest through violence. Like, what do you think? How do you think Islamic countries became Islamic countries? How do you think Arab countries became a thing? They were all through conquest. They were all through bloodshed and violence. Why are you singling out United States foundations where the countries that you endorse also were founded in the same way? Anyways, let's continue.
And he's depicted as this good guy, but we know he wasn't a good guy. This guy was known for many atrocities. He RAPE'd the people that were there, pillaged, and did all sorts of madness.
Yeah, they teach you that. They tell you that. Kids in the United States know that. They are constantly told
You're going to tell us that Thomas Edison created the light bulb? No, the guy was a mean businessman who stole things from other people and bullied them.
Yeah, this is why people are now, if you ask people these days, this was before people were, if you ask Edison versus Tesla, most people will vote for Tesla. This is because people now know these things.
One of those people being Nikola Tesla.
Yeah, there you go. People know this. I don't know why you're acting like you're like revealing a secret. Edison being a horrible person and stealing stuff from Tesla, it has become a meme now. This is now common knowledge. People are told this. You're not telling us something that you're not telling us a secret. This is so famous now. It has turned into memes. What do you think you're telling us? He thinks like he's educating us. He thinks it's like revealing things that our society has kept hidden from us.
They're going to tell us that non-Muslims created everything, but when it comes to people from the Muslim world, their names are changed. Like,
oh yeah, no. Here's the thing: Muslim world, from the Muslim world, you're showing us names of people who stood against religious beliefs. These were people who in the Islamic world who had scientific, achievements without the help of religion. In fact, the religious community at their time stood against them. You freaking moron. These people managed to achieve all these scientific achievements, they have all these scientific achievements at their time, and not because of religion, in spite of religion. If you go look at them throughout their time, religious authorities and the religious community was limiting them. Ibn Sina right there, you know how much more his achievements would have been if the religious community at that time was was not limiting the studies that he had, do you know that how much Ibn Sina, who is the father of medicine of that time, you know how much more he would have been able to understand if he was allowed to dissect dead human bodies, which religious authorities were not letting him at this time? Also, look at this list. Let's go
from
down.
the Muslim world.
Oh my God, Omar Khan, are you freaking serious? He puts a whole bunch of other people and names here who are not just not Islamic, who they had quotes against Islam. And Omar Khayyam, there, you put
all
Omar
these
Khayyam
other
there.
anti-religion poems, and
Yeah. Oh my God, Omar Khayyam. Okay, let me
Also,
tell you.
he's saying, we were talking earlier, you mentioned earlier about, a lot of the more modern inventions hadn't come out of Islamic countries. It's because the religion stops it. They haven't had this, enlightenment in a sense to move. They did then. Religion comes in and puts the kibosh on it. It's like they invent the zero and then stop. Like,
but let me tell you something about Omar Khayyam, because Omar Khayyam, yes, he was a poet and also a scientist, one of the greatest scientists of his time, and he was in the heart of the Islamic world, right? And he was born in 1048, died in 1131, so like we're talking about 1,000 years ago, in the middle of the Abbasid dynasty, like during the time that the Islamic Caliphate was at its power. And this is, at that time, in the heart of the Islamic world, this is the poem that Omar Khayyam, wrote at his time, right? So let me read this for you, okay? Well, it says, the Quran will come put me to the test. Lovely old book in hideous error dressed. Again, remember, this is 1,000 years ago in the middle of the Islamic Caliphate. This is the poem Omar Khayyam wrote. Lovely old book in hideous error dressed. Believe me, I can quote the Quran too. The unbeliever knows his Quran best. And do you think that unto such as you, he's talking about the religious authority, the people, the religious people, the Muslims, right? And do you think that unto such as you, a maggot-minded, starved, fanatic crew, God gave the secret and denied it me? Well, what matters it? Believe that too. This guy who is telling you that the Quran is a book hideous, in hideous error dress, he's quoting his name. He's quoting his name as like, oh, look at this. Look at what we have. Look at what the Muslims had to offer to the scientific community. Well, Omar Khayyam was one of us. One of us. He was a murtad. He was against Islam. So a lot of other people on your list, by the way, as well. I mean, even Ibn Sina and other people who you think were Muslim, if you look at the foundations of their science was in Greek philosophy and Greek way of analyzing, and the framework that was their foundation. They were more admirers of Greek philosophers than Islam. They used that as their foundation to come up with their conclusions. And at the end, when they come up with the conclusions, they just gave it a final Islamic paint job, because they lived in an era that it required a final Islamic paint job for their jobs to be accepted, for the religious authority to not come out against them. But even when they did that, they were told that they are disbelievers and murtads and infidels. Like famously Ghazali, like the Ibn Sina, it's very interesting. Oh, Ibn Taymiyyah, like it's interesting. He puts Ibn Sina as his name there, but the main guy that these people believe in, which is Ibn Taymiyyah, he considered Ibn Sina to be a heretic, to be an infidel. All of these Sunni guys, the vast majority of them consider Ibn Taymiyyah to be the guy that got hadith and Islamic scholarship perfectly right. They quote him. And Ibn Taymiyyah considers most of the peoples on this guy's list to be murtads, to be infidels.
Tell us that non-Muslims created everything, but when it comes to people from
yeah, well, not everything, but mostly, yes. The Islamic world especially these days, Islamic world in the golden age, when the Islamic world had a lot to offer, it was not because of Islam. It's because of the Islamic Empire had a lot of wealth, and with wealth comes science and technology and poetry and philosophy and art. If you look at what happened during the golden age, Islam had nothing to do with that advancement. Islam was standing in the way. It was the wealth that brought all of this technology and science. And right now, the Islamic world has almost nothing to offer. They are backwards, and you're humiliated by it. You're ashamed by it, and that's why you have to keep going back in history. And even when you go there, you use names of people who were considered infidels at their time.
From the Muslim world, their names are changed. Like Ibn Sina, no, when you check the literature, it's Avicenna.
Okay, you freaking moron. That's because it's more pronounceable. The Ibn Sina did the same thing to Greek words. Greek words, when they brought into the Islamic world, Ibn Sina himself and other people used names that were different to the original Greek. They changed it. They Arabized things. Just in the same way that the English-speaking word took Arabic language and made it, more pronounceable to them, Ibn Sina himself and other people around him, they Arabized words from the Greek language. This is what everyone does. This is not a conspiracy against Islam.
Ibn Rushd, no, it's Averroes. Oh, the Muslim.
Yeah, it's more pronounceable. You guys Arabize other words as well.
Well, I find it funny. He says, if you Google Ibn Sina, this is what you see. You obviously are Googling that name.
No.
So it's not like it's hidden from view. You type that in and you get this other option. So the point I'm making is that his name is already known, or the search wouldn't give you the option. His Islamic name is known, or his Arab name is known.
Yeah, and also D is pointing, you even Arabize the name of prophets, like Jewish names of the prophets. Now in, I don't know, like for example, Prophet Jonah is Yusuf, right? Jesus is Isa. You have Arabize names. Like every society does that with their language. When names come from another culture to theirs, they change it. They change the way they pronounce
names have
it.
become Latinized such that the
they Latinize the same way Arabs Arabize.
white people know how
Look
to read
at
them.
those
Or give
three
me a
pictures that he has in Biden, Trump, and John. Look at that.
What is that? Let me see. How is that relevant?
Oh, the Muslim names have become Latinized such that the white people know how to read them. Or give me a break. If they can say
Why are those the white people that he thinks of?
Those are the white
Is
people,
that-
progressives, and also like anti.
I mean, is
Israel
Trump
people
even white?
hate.
I thought Trump is orange. But anyways.
know how to read them. Or give me a break. If they can say supercalifragilisticexpialidocious, then I'm sure they can pronounce Ahmed. And what?
Well, I mean, if you can say Jonah, then why do you change that to Yusuf, right? Like, it's just a thing that cultures do. They Arabize, they Latinize, they Hellenize. They do these things. They do. Like, you guys, I mean, not you specifically, but the Islamic world also Arabized many words that came from previous cultures.
What else do they teach in these schools? That the only thing that qualifies as evidence is what you can see and what you can touch? Give me a break. So guys, when technologies like these come out, it should make us cognizant and draw us closer to Allah and closer to our families and closer to seeking more and more knowledge so we can assist and protect them from these evils. That of course, they're not all evil, but let's face it, the people that are pulling the strings, the governments, they're not exactly doing us a favor. The corporations, they're not exactly looking out for us. The schooling system, they've been hijacked by the people with the most money, with the most influence. So who's really looking out for us? Gain access to your own mind, know thyself, and know Allah. Otherwise, like Allah says in the Quran, if you don't know Allah, if you don't remember Allah, He will make you forget yourselves. Then these people are going to pick up the pieces and tell you that you are a materialist, consumer, atheist, nihilist. You're just gonna become worm food. Let's leave it there, guys. Until next time. Assalamu alaikum.
Wait, look at that. Subscribe, like, share, like at the very end.
Alaikum.
subscribe, like, share. So after all that speech, eventually he ended up asking for us for likes. I thought likes don't do anything. Anyways, again, this is a competition that is going to keep going on, threatening you guys with loss of meaning, with being nihilistic. They have been doing that ever since the printing press, and they're going to continue to do that. And the same people that are warning you about this technology will eventually make you apps to be able to go to Hajj using your VR headset, experience heaven. They will, I don't know, here maybe they will make Jesuses like this, so you could maybe talk to Jesus using AI technology. Let me look at this one. How does this work?
Please, my child, don't let this happen. My mission here is to bless. The devil will laugh at me if you skip this video. Please, my child, don't let this happen.
Yeah.
My mission here is to bless you so that you may achieve great things in these final days of the year. God brought you into this world so that you can evolve according to the commandments of the Lord. Every good action you take towards others will be repaid many times over. So do good without looking at who it is for. You will be sowing the seed of victory in your life. If you want to get closer to the Creator, spread His word by pressing all.
Anyways, that's basically.
Look what they did to Yeshua. They made him speak English. Oh my God, the conspiracy. He was speaking either Aramaic or Hebrew. How dare they? And his name wasn't Jesus, it was Yeshua. This terrible. I mean, that's exactly what he just said.
Yeah. No, they will be right on it. Like the same people that are now resisting this technology, as soon as it takes over everywhere, they are going to be providing a lot of Islamic services on VR headset, and they're going to get on that bandwagon themselves. They're just
Heck yeah. He just is, he did a huge long video to say basically what he said in the last like 4 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And I think it was for the likes. We went way over.
Yeah, we went way over. Guys, please, also, the likes do help. Unlike what you just heard, the likes really do help. So please make sure you like this video. I know this video is less popular, but eventually these videos are going to be more of a request by a lot of people. I'm pretty sure at some point you guys are going to request more talk about technology, because there's a major shift coming, and it's right now not that many people are talking about it, but I can see it becoming most of the discussion pretty soon because of how big of a change we're about to face. But anyways, thank you, Rivka, for being here. And we're going to go back to some more serious discussions, more political, more religion discussion. I just wanted to use this as an excuse to talk about this major shift that is coming and the religious reaction to it. And at some point, we will talk about it again. But yeah, see you guys. I think I might do an Ali Dava video tomorrow. But see you guys on the next video. Make sure you like and subscribe. Leave a comment after the video is over. And see you on the next video. Bye.
Bye. Yalla bye.
Yalla bye.